What's the Crowley fan theory about rejecting Deuce's application for a magical will club about? Crowley's rejection of Deuce's application for a magical will club is one of many threads connecting back to a popular theory that Crowley is making the overblots happen on purpose. It encompasses many things, such as the 3 light magic users. Colum's enrollment is particularly suspicious, as he received his letter of acceptance a month into what would become his first year at the school. Jamil observes, and just like that, my nice, free campus life went up in smoke. Colum was homeschooled prior to NRC, and Jamil says, some days I just didn't want to go straight home after school, which is where he would have to tutor Colum in addition to his other duties as Colum's servant. Did Crowley, or someone, intentionally give Jamil those 2 months of freedom so that he would feel the loss of that freedom all the more acutely, contributing to his overblot? The admissions process may have been more straightforward for Silver, and I do not believe we have heard anything about Rooks, but both characters were, like Colum, the catalyst to their respective house wardens overblotting. It is Rook who convinces Vil to watch Nage's rehearsal, which is what finally compromises Vil's tentative mental stability. And it is Crowley who put Vil in charge of production for the VDC in the first place. Later, Malleus's overblot is immediately preceded by a conversation with Silver. There is also Ruggie, who says that it is rare for people from his home to become mages and who had never attended a school prior to NRC. He is an odd choice for a prestigious magic academy. Ruggie has also only become a middling student, rising from the bottom of the class, thanks to Leona's tutoring, and Leona's desire to help secure a future for students like Ruggie has a significant influence on Leona's overblot. This is a point that is emphasized in the novel. Leona says, I cannot let the pack starve. Crowley offers the choice of retiring Malleus from the tournament in Book 2 in a decision that the famously perceptive Vil says reeks of unconscious bias. Crowley also goes out of his way to emphasize how many Savannahclaw students aspire to play in the Spelldrive Pro Leagues, how Savannahclaw has lost in the first round to Diasomnia 2 years in a row, and how it is affecting their future. Leona points out that he seems to be telling them to quit while they are ahead because he expects them to make fools of themselves. When Crowley denies this, saying, that is not my intention, Leona asks, then what is? Is it possible that Crowley never intended to retire Malleus, but knew that the threat would force Leona's hand? Making Leona desperate enough to contract with Azul, which connects to his destroying of Azul's contracts to hide evidence and instigating Azul's own overblot. This also ties into some interesting coincidences around certain school events, such as Savannahclaw being paired against Diasomnia in the first round of the Spelldrive tournament every year since Malleus enrolled, the members randomly selected for the Star Sending and for Glorious Masquerade. Idia asks, how do 3 house wardens just coincidentally get drawn in a raffle? That box is rigged, while Trey says, the head mage claimed he used astrology to pick us. You don't think he was lying about that, do you? Have all these things been as coincidental as Crowley claims, or are the suspicions of students like Trey and Idia correct and there is more going on than it seems? There is also the inconsistency of Crowley's money-mongering, explained in another video. Is he actually interested in perks like 10% of profits from Mastro Lounge and donations from Colum's and Idia's parents, or is that just his cover-up to get Jack, and thus Leona, to interfere with Azul, and to get Colum and Ortho to NRC? Then there is Crowley's encouraging of Ace to battle Riddle, and it is not impossible for him to be the anonymous person who reported on the school's overblotters in Book 6. Idia himself asks, could someone be inducing overblots on purpose? To return to the original question, magical wheels are a hobby that Deuce has in common with Epel, as both characters discover about each other in Book 5. Epel and Vil bond, briefly, over a Blastcycle in Epel's dorm vignette, where Vil allows Epel the freedom of driving one on his own for a film club project despite how Epel is not a film club member, which is something Epel says is like a dream come true. And Deuce goes on a long monologue about the freedom of Blastcycles to Ace, saying, if you're ever feeling blue, you just get on a blaster and tune out the world. I haven't been able to since the first day of school. This all ties back to an even wider theory about time loops. Is Crowley reliving these scenarios over and over again, and granting Deuce and Epel the stress relief of a Blastcycle club resulted in an undesirable ending? If the freedom of their own club, and being able to confide in each other earlier on, resulted in them not going to the extremes that they did in Book 5 in order to escape Ace and Vil, it is possible that Deuce did not learn his unique magic in time to stop Vil. And that fight on the beach that led to Deuce's unique magic? It was over a blast cycle. To get Deuce and Epel down to that beach for that fight, they had to be feeling stressed, trapped, and desperate, to the point that they were willing to break campus rules, or were flustered to the point of forgetting the rules existed, in Deuce's case, to get there. And what better an opportunity than a long-awaited chance to finally ride one of the Blastcycles they have both loved for years, but Crowley has been denying them. No fight on the beach may have meant no unique magic for Deuce, which may have resulted in Vil winning the overblot battle, and Crowley needing to reset the world in order to try again. And this time, without a Blastcycle club. It is all theory and conjecture, but very fun to think about.